What's going on, y'all? It's TCG here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about leaders with broken potential, but they're just not there yet. So this is going to be more of a discussion-based video. We're not going to be playing any games. We're not going to be showing off any deck lists. However, I just really want to talk about some of these leaders. So to kick things off, like I said, this is really just discussion. This is all my opinion. If you have any different opinions, I'd love to hear them down below. And if you think I missed any leaders on this list, let me know. And if you think I'm wrong about one of these leaders, that they're not there yet, let me know as well. I'd love to hear what you have brewing. If you're cooking something up and you have something spicy that you think is really good, or that you've been experimenting with and having success with, that'd be awesome as well. However, in my eyes, some of these leaders just aren't there yet. And I think with just the right couple cards, maybe a specific card for that leader that would really help it, I think that they would be really good. So before we jump into this, I do want to shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, they're the best TCG accessory company on the market. They make high quality anime inspired TCG accessories such as deck boxes, binders, and playmats. And if you haven't checked them out before, you're really missing out. They're top tier quality with top tier designs. Make all your friends go wow. I really love them. Use them every single day I play cards. And if you haven't seen them before, go down in the link in the description. Use code GumGumTCG to get a discount at checkout. All right, y'all. So to kick things off, my first leader that I think has good potential but isn't there yet is going to be Monkey D. Luffy, Supernova Straw Hat Crew, Red Green from OPO1. Now, this leader, if you don't know what it does, which you might not because it wasn't really played, it's still not really played. However, I do think that some of the new support that comes out of EB as well as OPO7 could help this leader a lot with some new Supernova strategy. But I think that the effect is just a little costly, so let's go over that real quick. So, like I said, it's red green, 5,000 power, 4 life, red green, and activate main once per turn. You can pay 4 Dawn to set up to one of your Supernovas or Straw Hat Crew type character cards with a cost of 5 or less as active, and it gains 1,000 power this turn. So essentially, one of your dudes that is 5 or less and is a Supernova or Straw Hat gets an extra swing that turn and an extra 1,000. That's not bad. You could play a whole nother body for that, which in some cases could be good, but for going for games, sometimes that could be better. I know that you can use Basil Hawkins with this to get like 3 swings out of them. There's a list of other cards. I mean, you can do it with Zoro, the Rush Zoro, so you could play it, do this, give him another swing. Sometimes that doesn't feel great, though. I've tested this leader a little bit, just trying to make some meme decks. You know, I built a deck that you push to get out the 9-cost green Zoro and then give him Diable Jambe. Obviously, that's not an optimal build, just kind of a meme deck, but I really think that if this leader had a little bit more support, maybe another card like Basil Hawkins, you know, I think Basil Hawkins is really good for this deck. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this leader just needs a little bit more defense. Being 4 life, it feels a little fragile, having to pay so much for that effect when we have, I mean, especially at the time in OPO1, just a significantly better leader in Law, being able to play small bodies and get maximum value off of your cards because of that low Dawn usage for your leader effect. And yeah, I really think that's where this struggles, is this effect is a little too costly. So maybe if there was an event that did the same thing for this leader, so then you could do it 2 times in one turn, that would be really cool. But yeah, I really think this just needs a little bit help. If you've got something brewing, let me know down below. All right, so the next one on the list, and I know I'm going to catch some flack for this, is going to be Red Ace. Red Ace is a pretty generic event, or a pretty generic leader. I'm thinking of events because of this leader, but he's pretty generic in that his leader effect can be used as long as there are good cards to play in this deck. And this deck, if we don't know, revolves around event cards. So being a generic leader, I think it really depends on how good your generic cards are. And right now, Ace does have a handful of generic cards. It has a handful of cards that are specific to him. However, just because he has cards that are specific to him and really good generic event cards, I mean, you've got Guard Point, you've got Rad Beam, you've got your Flame Emperor, Crossfire. I mean, the list goes on. And every time another good generic red event gets printed, you will think of Ace. However, I think this needs just a little bit more of a push. And I mean, obviously, one thing that would really help this leader is if Boat got unbanned. We haven't been able to play with this leader and the Boat at the same time. And being a Whitebeard Pirates leader, it would help because you could play that and all your dudes would get a boost. But I don't know how optimal that would be. I guess you could trash it out of your hand with the leader effect as well. So if you don't know what this leader does, I haven't mentioned that yet. When this leader attacks or is being attacked, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. For each card you trash, he gains 1,000 power this battle. So you can make him really big. You can defend yourself really well. You can go in for a big attack, and then you have cards like Flame Emperor, which KO and 8k or less, and then give you plus 3k, I believe, as well as double attack, which is a very, very strong event. However, most of the time it takes up your whole turn, which is fine. This deck doesn't play too many bodies. I know they like to play Marcos because they can pitch cards for both the Marcos. The blocker Marco is really good to help you defend, and the pop Marco is really good because you have events you can always pitch to bring it back. However, like I said, I feel this deck needs just one more really good specific ace event, and it'd be really, really strong in certain matchups. Like I think that's really what it's missing. You have access to the Rush Ace as well, which is really, really strong. But like I said, I just feel like there's just something missing. If you know what that thing missing is, let me know down in the comments below, because I don't know what it is. I'm not an Ace player. I just feel that it's missing like one or two really, really good cards that, I mean, could possibly come out. It's just red generic event cards and make this really strong. We could even see another EB-like set down the line that gives support to past archetypes again, such as the red Whitebeard Pirates, or more specifically Ace. And I think if that happens, this could be a very scary leader. I've always thought that this leader is pretty scary. So moving down the line, the next one we have in my mind is blue-green Sanji. Now, this leader effect's not great, but I think where this leader really struggles is the color combination. And we have another leader we're going to talk about with the same color combo here in just a minute. But 5,000 power leader, green and blue. Once per turn, when you play a character without an effect from your hand, if you have 3 or less characters in play, set up to 2 of your Dawn as active. Now, that effect, just being able to get basically 12 worth of Dawn in a turn because you played a vanilla, is pretty good. But I really think that it's just lacking. You know, I think that we really need something to help boost this a little bit. Maybe some better cards that play your vanillas for free. I know this is supposed to be played with the film cards, and definitely play it with the film cards. Like, those cards are really, really strong. If you play Luffy into Brook into Usopp, you just spent 7 Dawn, you get 2 back, you still have 5 Dawn left if you're on your 10 Dawn turn. That's really good. That's really strong plays. But I think, like I said, where this deck struggles is that blue-green color combo not having any synergy. I think that that's what they need to fix when it comes to blue-green leaders, because this has nothing to, like, no synergy. I know that the blue-green Sanji and Zoro deck is coming out. I believe it comes out this Friday, actually. And they tried to do better on that part, making this leader a little more generic and the whole deck revolving around that. We also got support from the Wings of the Captain set. So that helps, but just inherently there's no synergy. You know, when you look at combos like blue and black, being able to minus the cost of something to then use a blue card that revolves around cost as well to get rid of it, that's really strong. Red purple is also another example. Sometimes they're power based in purple, sometimes they're Dawn, or sometimes they're cost based effects, but with red being a power reducer, sometimes your purple cards can come in handy there as well. And I mean, even you look at black and green, like a Perona leader or an Isho leader, like these do the same thing, minus cost, and then green cards revolve around cost and resting them. So blue being kind of a removal thing, and then green kind of being more of a tempo game. I just don't see the synergy here, and I think that's really one thing that Bandai could work on for blue-green leaders down the line, because we've had 3 up to this point, and the synergy is lacking, let me tell you. So let me go ahead and move on to our next candidate, which is going to be the blue-green Rosinante, and I think that he suffers from the same thing. You know, there are a handful of cards that you can play in here that synergize decently together. You know, you do have your Don Quixote family stuff, and you can search out your blue blocker Dofi to be able to stack the deck and know what you're drawing, stuff like that. But man, like I said, I feel like this just suffers from the same thing where there's not that much synergy. However, this leader has potential. Being a leader with blocker, that's crazy. I think that that's really, really strong. So like I said, if you don't know what this does, it is a blocker leader. And then at the end of your turn, if your hand is 6 cards or less, set this leader as active. So, of course, being a blocker, it has to be active to be able to use that block effect, but being able to built-in stand itself back up is really, really powerful. I do think that the pool of cards this has access to, being the Don Quixote pirate stuff, and some of that stuff is type restricted as well, like sugar. I think that does help this leader a lot. But I would like to see some blue Don Quixote Pirates cards down the line. Maybe something to help give this a little bit more of a buff, because I feel that this leader suffers from having to have a lot of setup. It takes some setup to get this leader going. You really want to see your sugars, your baby 5s, and a couple blockers early game to get that hand advantage going, but not too much so that your leader's still active. And then you late game find your kid or your 10-drop Dophies, and I feel that it just takes too much setup, and against certain decks you just get steamrolled very fast. So I think that it needs something to help it set up a little bit more. And man, that synergy between blue green, it's just not there yet. Maybe I'm wrong. If you have been cooking with Sanji and Rosinante and even the new Zoro Sanji leader, let me know. But our next one on the list is Hody Jones. Now, I have been theorizing about this leader, and because I really like this leader and this archetype, and I think that it has potential. I think that we need a card for this leader that is specific to the new Fishmen Pirates. It is an event card, and it's going to be the energy steroid. Sorry, this is spoilers. If you haven't watched the Fishman Island arc of One Piece, go ahead and skip ahead right now. I will put a timestamp when I'm done talking about it, but I believe that there should be a card that is the energy steroids that the fishmen take, and it has some sort of effect to stop you from taking life for that turn, so that then you can use your fishmen type cards effects without having to take their life, and you could still use your leader to swing as well. That's where this leader really falls short, in my opinion, is that it's basically a leader that can't attack on some turns, and that kind of sucks. Also, it only rests a 3 or less when you have Perona that rests a 4 or less. Like, it's just kind of dumb that they did that. Perona is just an obviously better choice if you're looking for that effect. But, like, man, there's not too many good 3 or lesses in the game. Like, not too many decks play 3 or lesses. And if they do, I guess you're resting them, and then you're not taking life cards for the turn. But I really think this should have been 4 or less. And then I also think that we need an event card. I mean, he's holding them. You could see it in the artwork. He's holding the energy steroids. We need the event card. And I think that giving like a boost to your leader, and then you don't take life cards for the turn, I think that would really, really be good. But maybe you take one at the end of your turn, or maybe you take one next turn or something like that. Something to help you give a kill shot and not have to rest this leader constantly, so that you're not killing yourself with your own fishman effects. I think something like that would make this leader way better, because I think that he has some access to some really, really good cards. But enough talking about the fish man himself. Let's go ahead and talk about Blue Dofi. Now, I'm not going to talk about this one too much because wishes have been fulfilled. Blue Dofi players are rejoicing because in 07 there is hella 7 Warlord support, and it's all really, really strong. Not top tier, but it is really good. It makes the deck so much better, and that's really what we needed. Is we needed more names, we needed better names, and we got those. So I just wanted to point that out real fast, because I think that's what this was really missing. And yeah, Blue Dofi's a really fun deck, and I'm excited to try out the new 7 Warlords, because this was actually one of my first decks in the One Piece card game. Moving along, though, we have Blue Purple Croc. Now, this leader I really think has some potential. I think what it suffers from is not having good, I guess not having good enough Baroque Works cards. Like there's a handful that are really good. You know, you have 8-drop Purple Croc is really good. You have Miss All Sunday that's really good. Miss Double Finger's really good. There's a handful of other ones that are pretty good as well. However, I think the one thing that hurts him is you have to have 4 or less cards in your hand for this effect to go off to draw a card. And if that was 5 or less, it might be a little too strong. Maybe, I don't really know. Not a Croc expert, not a Croc player, but I do think that that's just like you have to go so low to get that off. But man, I really think that it just needs maybe a couple more strong events, and then making this a little bit less restrictive with that 4-card limitation, and then some better Baroque Works cards, man. They did the blue ones dirty. A lot of those blue ones are really, really bad. The purple ones are better, and then I know that in EB we get access to Miss Wednesday, which I believe is really, really good for the Baroque Works archetype, at least the purple side of it. However, I think that this leader has so much potential. It just needs a couple better cards, and we could see some good play with this. Now, don't have to talk about any more blue leaders. I think that, mind you, when I'm not talking about these other leaders, it's because they're either good or I don't think they have potential. I think that they are not salvageable, or that they're just kind of going to be stuck in this infinite limbo, or never really push past the point that they are, at least not far. Like Ivankov, this leader's cool. You have to go so low for this leader effect to even hit, and the access of the card pool that it has is just okay. It does get maybe like 2 or 3 more good cards, and it does help it a little bit more, but I'm not trying to shit on Ivankov or anything like that, but I really think that it would just need a lot more to help it than some of these other ones that I think could be fixed with like 1 or 2 cards, maybe a line of text on it getting changed. You know, I don't expect them to change lines of text on leaders unless your name is Sakazuki, but I do expect support to come out, you know. And one that I think is lacking the support is Z. This leader's fucking bonkers, man. Like, this leader's crazy. The problem with it is setup. It falls to the same problem as some of these other decks, and I think that it could really be fixed with just some extra cards that help it set up better. You know, like we have Tin Drop Kuzan, which people have been saying is a really, really good staple for this leader in this deck for a long time. Like, you stick that Kuzan on field, my Z's blowing up your board. Yeah, that's true. If you can get to that Kuzan, play it safely, and not die the next turn. I mean, we were in the red-dominated formats when this leader came out, and this leader just had no chance against those fast decks and those big bodies and stuff like that. Like, and unfortunately, like I said, it's just a costly leader effect. When attacking, Dawn -4, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Then it gains 1,000 power during this turn. Really strong. I mean, Dawn -4, you get an extra 1k boost, and you pop something on their field. Mind you, if you just played like that 10 drop Kuzan, you probably pop something else, and then the next turn you can probably pop 2 more things, maybe 3 if you're lucky. However, going Dawn -4 just hurts, you know. I think that if they give this deck a card to help it ramp faster, and then maybe something that's like a small walking 10 drop Kuzan, similar to how the Celestial Dragons are, you know, those are lower cost, but those you have to only have those on the field, which kind of sucks. I think like a 5 cost character that minuses everything by 1, maybe 2 max, like that's even asking for a lot, but I think that would be helpful for this leader as well. But I really think ramp tools that kind of also help mix with this leader effect. I don't really know. If you're a Z player, you know what this deck needs, let me know. I know 5-drop Kid is really, really good for the deck as well, but I think we just need a Z specific card that will help it progress forward as well. I guess a couple that I missed as well is going to be Arlong. I think this suffers from hand advantage. I think that having to pay this cost to play an extra card from your hand, and it also has to have trigger, is crazy. Like, this color combo is really good, and I think that this leader has access to some cool cards. However, you're just going down in hand advantage when you do this effect. You know, you play a character, then you attack with leader, play another character. That's really, really costly. Maybe you're not doing that every turn, but you look at someone like Doflamingo or someone like Gecko Moria, who have a very similar effect that pays a cost when attacking with a certain amount of Dawn on it to play a character from somewhere, and it's not from your hand. And that's why those leaders are better. This plays from the deck. It's free advantage. Moria plays from trash. It's free advantage. Arlong plays from the hand. That's not free advantage. That's your resources. That could be life or death in this game. And that's where I think this struggles. Same with Betty. I think that Betty having to trash for that effect really hurts it. But it's a very powerful effect. I just think that both of these leaders could use a card or 2 to help it draw more and get more cards in hand, so you're not going minus so hard when you do use them. That's all I'll say about those, because I do think that Betty's relatively strong in her own right sometimes, but Arlong, like I said, it's just, it costs too much. You know, you're losing an extra card out of your hand when you do that, and I guess you're not losing it, you're putting it on the board, but in my opinion, it's just, I mean, if you were to do this effect, let's say you go first, you do this effect turn 1. I mean, sure, it's like you just played a body and got a free swing. Okay, you play a body next turn, and then you do this again. I mean, you're already down 3 cards out of your hand. Like, and you're a 4-life leader. Very, very tricky to play, and I think that it just needs another searcher, something that can help get you some more advantage. But after Z, I want to mention Purple Yellow Croc. Now, I know, like I mentioned, that we get Miss Wednesday in the EB set, I believe. That card goes crazy in this deck. But I think this leader just suffers from lack of synergy as well. Purple Yellow as a combination is just not there yet. I know that they tried to make it there with the Purple 8-drop Croc, being able to heal yourself. And then you can also play cards like Yamato. Yamato, 9 cost, is really, really good. You can play Katakuri in here as well. You know, the synergy's not awful. I think it could be a little closer, though, you know. That's just my 2 cents. I do have fun. I've tested this deck a little bit, but yeah, I think it just needs a little bit more. Maybe we'll get yellow Baroque Works cards. Who knows? And maybe they'll actually be good this time. But with that being said, our next one and last final contender is going to be Black Yellow Big Mom, Black Yellow Charlotte Linlin. 5,000 power leader, Dawn times 2 when attacking, pay 2. Here's another costly leader effect. You may trash a card from your hand. If you have 1 or less cards in your life area, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck at the top of your life area. Now, I guess in theory, this is an infinite healing leader once you hit an X amount of Dawn and X amount of life. But that leader effect is so costly. You are getting a 7k attack, at least 7k attack out of it. I guess if you invest all your Dawn into it, the highest attack with this leader effect would be 13k, and then you're paying the other 2, but you're also trashing a card from your hand. However, you are getting a new one to your life pile, so that would, in theory, go back to your hand again. So you're not losing too much value, but it's just costly. There's not too much else you can do in a turn like this. Those really good yellow cards that you like to play in yellow leaders like this, like 10-drop Linlin, which this deck has access to, 7-drop Linlin, which this deck has access to, 8-drop Katakuri, which this deck has access to, 9-cost Yamato. You can't play a single one of those the same turn that you play this card. And as a Queen player, I believe that Queen is just a better version of this, where you get to play all those cards and still hit your leader effect in the same turn, except for 10-cost Linlin. You cannot play that in here, but that's no big deal. I mean, most of the time, if I'm on pace with Queen, I've got X amount of cards in hand and X amount of cards in life. Like, I can play a Yamato, hit, heal, and pop something, and swing with my leader for 6, and heal again. 2 heals in 1 turn, when this can only do it once. I mean, I guess the color combo is cool. You do have some cool cards in yellow that can mix well with black to make some fun synergies, like minusing cost and then using stuff like Gadatsu and Yamato to pop. I do think it's funny. You do have good triggers out of yellow that can make this leader a little bit better, but I think this one, like I said, the leader effect is kind of costly, and I think it just needs a card that's like specific to help this leader as well, like a 5-drop yellow card that's can only be played in yellow Linlin, and it, like, when it dies, it heals itself or something. I don't know. Something dumb, but this just, it ain't it. It needs some help. And that's kind of, like I said, the point of this video, to talk about these leaders, how I think that they have the potential. They just need a little bit more of a push, and I think it could be there, you know, like, being able to heal inherently on your leaders broken. We've seen that in leaders in the past with Queen and Enel. Why isn't Charlotte Linlin good? I mean, it's just not. Like, it needs a little help. Same with Purple Yellow Croc. Like, this just needs a little bit more. I think that it's decent. It just needs more. Z, too costly. We need something to help it come down a little bit and bring it back to earth to make it not feel so costly. And maybe some ramp tools. I don't really know. If you know something about Z that I don't, that you're cooking with, or you think you know what would help make this leader broke into your 0, let me know down below. Hody, we need that energy steroid card. We need those extra Don Quixote cards. We need those better cards to play vanillas. Like, we need better events. We need better events. We need more red and green supernovas to go with this leader. I don't know. Like I said, this has mostly just been a discussion video, kind of just a rant that I've been theorizing in my head about some leaders. And yeah, I just wanted to share it with you all. If you agree with any of these, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching and sticking around. If you haven't liked the video already, please make sure to give it a like. It helps other people see it. And if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? We have like an 80% not subscribed rate, and I'd love to see you subscribed. It helps me grow, and it helps me out a lot. Like I mentioned in the beginning, if you haven't checked out Dueling Guard, go check out that link in my description and use code GumGumTCG for a discount at checkout. And yeah, I will see you all on the next one. Peace.